last year, in our third South-South Forum on Sustainability, we had as our key speaker Professor Francois Houtart. So he was here to give lectures every morning for four consecutive mornings, and then we had discussions in the afternoon. So the idea was that, he would be giving the e-lectures, which could be put on the websites for anyone to look at. And this year, on June 6th, in the early morning, he died in his home in Quito. And it came as a very shocking news because he was always vibrant, he was always dynamic. His schedules were so full, he would be having meetings. And in fact, the next day, on July 7th, I was supposed to be through the Skype giving a lecture to his department in Quito on the question of peasant agriculture. And he said he would volunteer to be the interpreter from English to Spanish for the lecture. So, for him, peasant agriculture could be a transition. He was thinking of the idea of whether peasant agriculture could be one of the possible transitions for a post-capitalist paradigm, because he feels that peasant agriculture has been a response to the failures of collectivization and of rural capitalism. And so all this time he has been working on the concept of the common good for humanity, and he has written actually dozens of books on various aspects, but in his last years, he has been focusing on looking for post-capitalist paradigms. And he has been working very closely with the indigenous peoples in Latin America, and especially, and also with Asia, because he will see that these are the two regions where we still have viable peasant agriculture. Well, many friends here from Arena came to know Professor Francois for the first time together in 2003 when we had our Congress in Penang. So he came and he attended 2 days of the conference, and all the time he had a band-aid on his forehead. So it was the first time we met, so it would have been impolite to ask what's happened to you. But then when he was waiting for the taxi to take him to the airport, then I was co-chair of Arena at that time, so politely I sat with him to send him to the airport. Because there was time, then we were just chatting. And I asked him, what happened to you on the forehead? And then he smiled and said, oh, it's nothing, it's just a band-aid, it's for aesthetic reasons, because I bumped into a pillar in the airport. So I said, but how could that happen? So he said, well, I was carrying 2 suitcases, and both full of books, and while I was attending to one of the suitcases, then I didn't look ahead and I bumped into the pillar. It has healed, no problem, it's only for aesthetic reasons. So, he was still very young then, he was 78. And he was carrying books all the time. The books he published, he wanted to sell them because he was always actually not so affluent. He was also wanting to sell books, but at the same time, of course, to try to spread all the ideas. And last year, we were in the in 2015, we were in the World Social Forum in Tunisia, and he was 90, and we celebrated his 90th birthday there. But then he was still carrying a whole suitcase of books. So when we saw him coming with his suitcase, so Professor Wen Tejin and Professor Dai Jinghua, being much younger than he was, so would rush across there and then carry. And he was carrying his pamphlet, which is the common good for all of humanity. So I would recommend that you could read his book. It is in maybe about 10 languages. That has been published in 10 languages. So Francois had written about me and him, about the way we think, and I think that is also this. That also applies to, I think, many of our Arena friends and our friends here. He said, we always share a common view in analyzing capitalism and orientations for the future, bearing in mind the pros and cons of the socialist experiences. We both felt that a renewed socialism was the path to follow, based on sound analysis and a critical commitment, but responsible in social and political construction. And Francois and I, being both vice presidents of the World Forum for Alternatives, with Samir Amin as the president, we shared especially views on the significance of ecological concerns in our thoughts about the future. And so in the World Forum for Alternatives, we had both been working very closely together on the question of ecology and on the question of peasant agriculture. And the Global University will be publishing the English version of the memoirs of Francois, which is about 500 to 600 pages. So, and we hope to be publishing it also in Chinese and other languages. The original version will come out in Spanish. And actually, he was supposed to go to Cuba to finish, to finalize the two memoirs, the Spanish and the English memoirs, at the end of June. So he had written in his memoirs, in the last pages, about death and life. And I think he has stressed that it is not, we should not be filled with grief, but we should have hope. And that is what he wrote. Death has not been a great problem for me, a worry or a cause for fear. I see it as a part of a natural series of events for everyone, and I believe that its meaning is determined by the life that each person has led. The only thing that worried me are the conditions that bring about death. In other words, whether one can live until the last moment with a certain dignity that makes it possible to be responsible for one's end. I think that a life does not end with death, and for this reason, it is a transition, one more stage, the achievement. What the future holds after this is a great mystery about which no one can bear witness. As far as I'm concerned, what the future could be is a wager. Perhaps it is a spiritual continuation. Whatever its form is perhaps of no importance. I've always tried to live in the present as intensely as possible, and for this reason, I do not feel that the end is something dramatic. Death is part of life, and we must experience it in the same way as we have always experienced life. A trajectory of faith helps to live to the full and to have hope at the moment of death. And so today we would like to celebrate his life, and I would like to end with the words of Samir Amin, who has worked very closely with him since 1990s. And this is the celebratory message that Samir wrote on Francois' 90th birthday. Great ideas do not have any procreators, they say. They germinate on the fertile ground of collective struggles. They are refinement in the open and frank debate of their actors. Great ideas are the collective inventions of mankind. No, the great just ideas also have procreators. Those who, a little more lucid than others, endeavor to understand the unavoidable requirements of the coherence of thought and action. Beyond this lucidity, those who persevere with courage so that the great righteous ideas become material forces that change the world. Francois is an exemplary model. From 1996 onwards, he was able to counter the invasive tide of the liberal virus and to think of the need for a World Forum that would become one of the privileged places to build the effectiveness of the resistance of the people who were victims of the system. He expressed it to Louvain-la-Neuve in 1996, an idea that convinced all of us. Without him, the World Forum for Alternatives, founded a year later in Cairo, would probably not have been born. Without him, the entry of this forum on the stage in Davos in 1999 would probably not have been imagined. Read the manifesto of the World Forum for Alternatives, the precision of the great just ideas that you will find there, their formulation with all the power of poetry, owe much to him. Let us not say to Francois, thank you for all that you have done and continue to do. Let us say to him, we want to do as you do, as much as you do, as well as you do. So thank you very much. we have compiled some photos of Francois in some of the activities, and it is with the help of Calvin and also with George here that we compiled the photos. So now I would like to show you one video, which is an interview we did with Francois last year when he was here.
In Cuba, it's difficult to disagree with Fidel, no? It's practically almost impossible but Fidel likes that, you know. He likes to have a possible discussion. So I remember that was a seminar on Marxist thinking, and the importance for today of a Marxist thinking. And so I choose to speak about a Marxist analysis of the World Social Forum. And so I began to make the analysis of the Social Forum. And then when I finished that, Fidel asked the word. And he said, it was at the time that the Social Forum decided to go to India, Bombay. So Fidel said, why did you decide in the International Committee to go out of Latin America for the World Social Forum, just at a time that imperialism is extremely aggressive against Latin America, and at the time that there is the move toward some new political movements in Latin America, and that is just that time that you choose to go out of Latin America. Why? So I said, well, Commandant, it's very simple. The World Social Forum is a world forum, and it cannot remain only in Latin America. So it has to go different parts of the world. So Fidel again said, no. This is the result of a decision of Europeans with a few Brazilians. So I said, well, Comandante, I don't believe in the complot theory. There was no complot. You say complot, I don't know, or you say that there was no, not a small group trying to manipulate the matter. It was really because of the world character of the World Social Forum. And I said, if you say that the World Social Forum should always happen in Latin America, that is a Latin American centrist position. Oof, there was a big noise in the hall, people shooting, and saying, well, what you have attacked the position of Fidel, whatever. And then the Minister of Culture is a good friend, Abel Prieto, stood up and he said, Francois, you cannot accuse Cuba of being Latin American centrist. We have helped Vietnam, we have helped Angola, we are sending thousands of doctors all over the world. So I said, but that is not the question. Of course, Cuba has an international vision, but if you pretend that the World Social Forum should stay in Latin America, that is a Latin American centrist position. And the people again were shooting all over. It was terrible. So at once then Fidel asked the word again. And he said to me, are there social movement in India? So I said, well, Comandante, there are social movements in India who have 10 times as many members of all the social movements in Latin America. So the struggle was going on. So the discussion was going on, and people are asking the word to defend my position. Some others were defending the position of Fidel. Anyway, Fidel was very happy about this discussion. And it went on and on and on till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and no lunch. And a few months later, I saw Abel Prieto, and the Minister of Culture. And he told me, you know what Fidel told me? He was right.
Thank you very much. And and this time, actually, for this forum, we have announced it to the World Social Forum International Council, and then they were very happy about this, and they would want more interactions with Asia and Asian movements. So that is why this whole forum for the presentation parts, for the formal parts, it is being live streamed. So I think maybe somewhere in Africa or in Latin America, somebody also with us in this room. So thank you very much.